Hello everyone. When the narcissist knows you have defeated them, let's talk about it. In this video, I'm going to be giving you proof that you have defeated the narcissist. And this is it, it's not always what you might expect. Because many of you, you're looking for signs on the surface. You want to see them down. You want to see them broken. You want to see them crying, begging for your attention. And honestly, most of the time, you're not going to see that. They're not going to let you see it. They're going to hold on to their egos, their pride. And they're not going to drop that for anyone. So stop looking for these big, outward open signs, because most of the time they're just not going to be there. And instead you need to know what to look for. And this is the thing that's going to surprise so many of you, is that the real signs that you have defeated them really aren't what you might expect them to be. And instead you may see it as though those are signs of your defeat, because that's how they want you to see it. But the only reason they do these things is because you have defeated them. And that's really the whole basis of this video, of what we're about to get into. So notice, at the beginning, they had a completely different attitude when they got in with you. They were wearing a mask, they were manipulating you. They seemed very charming, charismatic, all over you, super confident, arrogant even, as though they knew exactly what they were doing, exactly where they were going, exactly how things were going to go and turn out for them. That's how they came at it initially. And even that, the way they were wearing a mask, they were manipulating you. They were defeated from the very beginning. Because why couldn't they just be themselves? Why did they have to strategize, orchestrate everything? That's how you already know that you have defeated them. They were defeated at the start, before you even got involved with them. Because they wore a mask, they manipulated you. And then what happened when you saw through this mask, this illusion? Then they changed that as well. Then they became something else. And then you started to see all of these other tactics. And what often happens when you defeat a narcissist is that they will go silent. This is one of the number one things that they often do. When you defeat them, corner them, when they fear the threat of abandonment, exposure, they're going to go silent. They're going to give you the silent treatment. They're going to ghost you. They're going to disappear. They're going to get themselves out of there. Because now they're vulnerable. They're liable to being harmed. And that's why they disappear. Because you are now becoming a threat to them. You've now reversed the roles on them. At the beginning, they were the predators and you were the prey. But it gets to a point, once you see through them, that they then start seeing you as the predator. And that's why they ghost, that's why they disappear. Because you've defeated them. You've already defeated them at that point. Once they cut you off, once they walk away. And they disappear to abandon whatever it was that they supposedly believed in. That was meant to have mattered to them. They just throw all of that away, and then instead they mimic your confidence, your success. They align with you now. They don't have any power to stand on what is meant to mean anything to them. They just throw all of that away and align with you. And yet many of you may see that as though you're being threatened now, as though they're stealing from you. And yeah, that may be true, but it is also a sign that you have defeated them, because now they're aligning with you now. They see you as stronger, more powerful, and that's why they're mimicking your growth, your success, instead of trying to do something on their own, instead of staying in their own lane. But some narcissists, another cowardly tactic they use is to love bomb you again. So they may return with fake apologies, fake kindness, and this is all bait. They're trying to pull you back in. And before that, they were likely devaluing you. They thought they were getting somewhere with that. Insulting you, putting you down, making you feel small. They thought that was going to get them the result they were looking for. But then notice how all of a sudden they pull back on that, and then they start acting nice to you again. Because they realize you're not going to have it. You're not going to keep doing and giving to them, being their supply, if they're going to come at you in that way. And that's why, again, they abandon that tactic, that strategy. Because that's what it is a lot of times, when you see the anger, the devaluation. It's a strategy, a tactic. And when that doesn't work, they try something else. And this is how you know that it is a tactic. Because when it doesn't work, they do something else. If it was real, they wouldn't just switch up all of a sudden. And yeah, another thing they will try and do is spread rumors about you. Smear your name. They want to try and damage your image because they can't touch your strength. This is what happens when you start getting too strong. They try to weaken you. But this is it, many of us going through the shame, the humiliation, and all of the pain and misfortune they put us through. We're too busy self-reflecting and looking at all of the damage that they've caused, rather than seeing that these actions are a reflection of their weakness, of their defeat. Because that's what this really is. And yeah, every tactic that they use, it is all just a reaction to their defeat. It's because they've been defeated by you. So whenever they switch it up, whenever they transition to something else, it's a reaction to their defeat. Yes, it may provoke shame. Yes, it may be humiliating. But you need to take a step back and look at it for what it is. When they deny, gaslight, shift the blame onto you, project, deflect, smear you, triangulate. All of this is a reaction to their defeat. That's all that it is. It's all because they feel powerless. They feel powerless and helpless in what they're currently doing, based off what they're trying to achieve: control, manipulation, a sense of superiority, validation. They feel like that's not working out for them the way they want it to. So now they're transitioning. They're trying something else. They're trying to see if something else is going to be effective on you. And it's because you didn't react to it the way that they wanted you to. You didn't give it the validation. It didn't give them that control over you. And that's why they pull away, they pull it back, and then they try something else instead. And it can be really creepy sometimes, you know, when they disappear, like as I said at the beginning of the video. A tactic many of them use is to go silent. I mean, really, it's just to save themselves because they've been defeated and now they're vulnerable. So they've gone away to lick their wounds. But yeah, it's really creepy because many of them, they go silent. And then behind the scenes, they're still watching you, still studying you, and maybe even using these bait-in brainwashing tactics, hoping that you're going to take a nibble at it, or that you're going to be provoked into fear, threat, intimidation, coercion, and feel like in order to feel comfortable, safe, you have to go along with it. But yeah, it's really creepy sometimes when they come back. It could be months, even years later, and they're coming back with things from a long time ago, things that aren't even relevant today. And that's when you really see their predatory nature. You know that they've been stalking you. And they just seem so outdated, so behind. And it's really just based off what they thought was most effective on you before. Whatever gave them that control, validation, a sense of superiority, that's what they go back to. They reuse old tactics, old brainwashing. Whatever they think is still going to align with you. And typically it's because they feel like they already know it quite well. And they don't want to learn something new. They don't want to go through the effort of re-grooming you all over again. You've got to understand, you know, many of these narcissists are very lazy. So they don't want to run you through the grooming, the conditioning all over again. They would rather just reuse old tactics. But it's funny though, because while they're stalking you, they pretend like you don't exist. They're watching you all of this time, seeing what you're doing, and just trying to find different ways, you know, what's going to get your attention again? What's going to pull you back in? Because that's really what they're trying to do, is regain the control over you. Remember, they need supply. They can't live without it. But sometimes you may not have any direct proof that they're stalking you, but you can see it because they're mimicking your growth. Whatever you've been attuned to while you've been away from them, whatever you've been doing, they're mimicking that. It's almost like they're becoming more and more like you. And not only that, but the new supply begins to look and act eerily similar to you. Have you noticed this? Let me know in the live chat below. Because I'm sure this is something that many people have been seeing, is that even when you pull away from the narcissist or they go silent because you've defeated them, you may notice that they're still becoming more and more like you even while they're distant. They're still taking off of you. They're still trying to look and act like you. And they're trying to make the new supply into you. So they're trying to be around and bond with people who are really just based off of you, your likes, your interests. And this is not paranoia. What you're seeing is real. This is what narcissists are known to do. But yeah, they may be acting like you don't matter, like you're just not a concern to them anymore. But they're still talking about you. They're still bringing up your name in conversations. And like I said, sometimes they will smear you if they can't touch your strength. And they may be strategizing with their fly monkeys, trying to figure out how do they get back at you? How do they find some kind of weakness, vulnerability, something that matters to you personally, something that you care about? Because this is how they bait you back in, is by throwing something out there, seeing what gets to you, and then using it to provoke fear, intimidation in you, and getting you to see them as the authority there, so that you then fawn to them and seek validation from them. That's another way they pull you back in. So they have all of these different strategies, which are all just responses to their defeat. That's all that it is. It's all because you were too strong. They couldn't control you anymore. And another thing they like to do is really just sabotaging you, trying to destroy your progress, your success, your efforts to move on, to keep you stuck. That's another way they try to regain power. And let's not forget the false accusations, shaming tactics, belittling. Just anything that they can do to try and keep you under their control. Because this is it, your independence, your autonomy. It's all a reminder to them of where they have failed to succeed. And it's a reminder to them of how they were wrong. And that's why it's so uncomfortable for them to see you moving on outside of their control. And this is the case with all narcissists. They've got to have that control over you. They always want to corner you, trap you, box you in, keep you on the shelf for whenever they need you, whenever they need that validation again. And it's because they have an inability to generate the validation from within. They have to get it from you. And that's why, they often use these bait-in tactics. And they transition into different strategies, whatever they think is going to work. And always, you'll find like you're having a conversation with them and all of a sudden they switch the topic. They try to direct your attention to something else. Or they try to focus on something about you. And they won't even make it out like it's negative. But because they know in the past, they've always spoken negatively about you and they're devaluing you. So it gets to a point where all they have to do is just bring your focus to something. As an example, it could be you bought a new outfit. They don't have to say any positive or negative things about it. They could just make an observation. They could say, oh, you've got a new outfit. And maybe it's their tone of voice. So it's just something they're directing you to it, making you feel insecure, making you feel like there's something wrong with you. And it gets to a point because they've done it hundreds, if not thousands of times to you, that you already know when you see or hear from them again, or if you know that they're watching, it's always going to be something negative. It's always going to be something taken away from you. And it puts you back into that state again, where they once had control over you. And not because that's how you wanted to be. You wanted to be the best version of yourself. But it's because it feels more safe, familiar, comfortable. You know that if you step into that space, you step into that zone, there's going to be an element of safety there. They're going to feel more comfortable because then they're not going to feel like it's them. So that's how it works. That's how your brain processes it. And this is the thing, by getting involved with narcissists, it causes all of these problems for us. And it can be very difficult to pull away from them. And that's why, you've really got to take them off the pedestal of the authority figures, of how they present themselves to be. And you need new role models, new people who validate you. Because they will be doing all of these things, when they feel defeated, when they feel insecure. That's when they got to try and get that control back over you. And it's all because they feel invalidated and they're chasing this sense of superiority, which they can only get from you because you invalidate them. Just your presence invalidates them. Makes them feel insignificant, irrelevant. 77 live viewers, give it a thumbs up. If this has been helpful to you so far. Don't know who's this shouting at the door now. I did explain before, there's always a lot of gang stalkers out here. Absolute weirdos. They're constantly slamming their doors, everything. But as you may know, it's wherever I go, these weirdos, this noise, it follows me. And especially when I do a live video, as you may have noticed, and pre-recorded videos as well. They want to keep me off balance. They want me to present myself on video as though I'm crazy, I'm unstable, I'm paranoid. But it's kind of worked against them because I know many of you, as you've mentioned in the comments, you've heard all of the noises, you've seen them in the background, so you already know what they're trying to do. And they're just very jealous people, very insecure. They don't like themselves very much, and they don't want you to like you. But they're also completely delusional. They point the finger at you and they focus on your reactions. It's like, are they really that dumb to not even see that your reactions are completely normal to what you're dealing with? Because, you're around a narcissist who's constantly poking at you, destabilizing you. So naturally, of course, you might start to feel more unhinged, destabilized. And that is completely normal. And that's what narcissists are going to do, when you've defeated them. Many of them, they won't just move on, they won't just walk away. They're going to try and look for new ways to destabilize you if the old ways don't work. And this is how they're always thinking. It's always just, how do I control this person? How do I prevent them from escaping my grasp? And it's because they need that validation. These people are not secure. They're not self-validated. they don't really believe in it themselves. This narrative that they're feeding you and everyone else of you being the problem, out of them being so wonderful, they don't even believe that. Deep down, they know it themselves that they are the abusers. And that's why they need your validation. That's why it's so important to them to have that control. 99 live viewers, give it a thumbs up if it's good for you so far. And again, you know, I do apologize for the gang stalkers. If you could hear them shouting in the background. They do that all the time, actually, especially back in Manila. Like just before, because they're always spying and they know, you know, the times when I go live on video. And then they just start shouting in the background. They're like, hey. But of course, you know, when I go to the window, if I open the door, then they cower away. They're not actually going to stand up and confront me. Because there's nothing they can say. I'm not doing anything wrong. And, you know, they're not going to defeat me one-on-one. That's for sure. But yeah, a lot of this, it has to do with your self-image. It's your authenticity. That's what they don't like, because they are not authentic. They are fake people. They don't have an identity, a self of their own. So of course, that's like the first thing that they want to attack in you, because it's something they're envious of. It's something that they don't have. And of course it works for them because they don't care about reality. They don't value truth. None of that matters to them. Why would it matter to someone who's chosen to abandon themselves and live a lie? But yeah, I apologize all the gang stalkers in the live chat as well. As you may notice, they always ask about my accent. They've been doing this for the last couple of years now. Because they have an identity crisis. They have no self, they have no identity, so they poke at me and question my accent. And then they'll say things like bro, mate. Because, you know, as an example, like in Australia, they say good day, mate. And as you may notice, many gang stalkers, they compare my accent to Australian. So, you know, they use these tactics when you're immersed in something, distracted. They distract you. You know, they try and debase, undermine you, what you're trying to do. Just throw you off course, and then they throw in the bait. They suggest something to you to get you to align with that. And then, of course, after that, they just blame and shame you and act like that was your decision. So that's why if you see anyone talking about accents or my ethnicity or anything like that, just ignore it. It's usually just gang stalkers, because they're just trying to undermine what they see, my appearance, my voice. Notice how they never want to discuss what I'm actually talking about. But yeah, every video, these losers are always in you. It's like they can't understand, they can't accept it, that they are not wanted. They are not one of us, even though in the comments you may see, they always like to use the word we, as though they are a representative speaking on behalf of everyone. And I'm reading it thinking, what do you mean we? We are not aligned with you. We do not align with abusers. But yeah, of course, to some of you who are genuine viewers, and if you're new here, to you, you might be thinking, what's wrong with me? I mean, why have I got a problem with people asking about my accent? Maybe they might genuinely want to know if they're new. It's because I've seen the repetitive pattern, and they've been doing these tactics now for about 2 years. And also I've seen what they also follow up with after that. So they'll say about my accent, and then they might say something else like, you like Indian or something. So I've seen and heard it all before. There's really nothing new that they can do at this point, because I've experienced it all thousands, millions of times. The George says, people with no life just scrolling in live chats to be losers, to avoid self-reflection or getting a real hobby. Exactly. It's escapism for them, to disconnect from themselves, while all of us, we come here because we want to connect back to ourselves. We just want real discussion. So we're like opposites here. But yeah, let me know what you think about what I've said to you. I'm sure this may have surprised some of you, how these are all signs of their defeat. When they start denying things, gaslighting, minimizing, invalidating you, mocking you, ridiculing you, blame shifting, projecting, triangulating, smearing. These are all signs of their defeat. Because think about it, they weren't doing that before. They were doing something else before. They were wearing a mask, but they were charming, love bombing you, being nice to you. So why did they switch that up? It's because it wasn't working anymore. It wasn't giving them the validation they were looking for. They couldn't be satisfied. And so that's why they changed. That's why they use these other tactics. And these are all signs of their defeat. You're defeated in many different variations, many different levels of what they're trying to do. And yeah, I think one of their greatest defeats you will see is when they go back to something old from the past. Tactics that they've used before. It's because they can't find anything new, anything original. That's really what that is. And don't get me wrong, it's good to reminisce. It's good to be grateful about the past and remember. But we're talking about manipulation. We're talking about con artists. They can't find a new strategy. And so they return to old tactics. Oh, that's a good one. DMT Dream says, next update, tactile hallucination mode. The screen will now touch you back. Honestly, I think if they had the ability to do that, they probably would. They'd probably have like a hand coming out of the screen and touching me. And then all of you would see me reacting to it, and you'd be wondering, what's going on with me? But yeah, this is how you will know that you have defeated them. Whenever you see them switch up, whenever you see them transition into different strategies, trying to bait you back in again, these are all signs that what they were doing before, it wasn't working. It wasn't gratifying them enough. It wasn't giving them that potent supply that they were looking for. And that's how you know that you have defeated them. That's how you know that you have won. It's just that many times you don't see it because you're going through the pain, misfortune of their new tactics. You're dealing with the shame, the humiliation. So you don't see it. Because when they're bullying you, intimidating you, you're looking at it like, what's wrong with me? Why are they treating me this way all of a sudden? You don't see it as though they have an inability to be satisfied, grateful with what you've done for them. You don't see it as though their manipulation was no longer effective and you were seeing through it. Instead, you look at yourself and you blame yourself. So, that's just it. That's when they want you to come back within, after they've done something to you. That's when they discard you. That's when they leave you to yourself, isolate you, after they've done all of these things to you. They just dump it all onto you and they're like, oh, this is you now. This is your reality. I didn't cause this. So that's where they disappear then. But you got to be like, no, I am not the cause of this. I don't have to go through the shame, the humiliation. And instead, I'm going to put it back where it belongs. Instead, I'm going to see that the fact that they did these things to me, it's proof that I've defeated them. That's where they had to switch up. That's where they had to do this. And that's how you've got to see it, because it's true. This is the reality of it. You triggered them to reflect on their own shame. You may have caused a narcissistic injury. But yeah, I am now working on my next gang stalking video. I know there's been many already, but there are many more to come. And the next one will be up, hopefully tomorrow. And this one is about why gang stalkers use a man and a woman to provoke jealousy and control you. And it's something that I've never seen being talked about on Google or on YouTube. But I believe it is something that many targets may be going through. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to putting this one out there and seeing your reactions to it. And seeing how many people are going through this. Because I did some videos recently, of how gang stalkers slam doors, they honk their horns, they cough. And those videos got thousands of views. So clearly this is happening to a lot of people. And yet, these tactics have been talked about online many times already. What hasn't been discussed, at least from my research, is of how gang stalkers use a man and a woman to make you jealous and to control you. I haven't seen anyone talk about this before. And so I'm really looking forward to sharing this video. And, it's just great to see this channel coming back. It's performing better than ever before, at least for the last couple of years. And a big part of that is due to the new gang stalking videos. And, you know, I am honored to be able to help those of you who are going through this. And this is only the beginning, you know, this is just the early days of putting out this content. And soon I can go into sequels, I can go into deeper videos. And of course, there's so many other different tactics to talk about as well. So, yeah, it's very exciting times on the channel. It really is. And yeah, you know, I'm just excited to see where it goes. Because already this year, it's been incredible. And I know that I've helped so many of you. But yeah, that's all I've got to say for this video. And make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you are notified when I do upload the next gang stalker video tomorrow. And of course, many more coming soon. Give the video a thumbs up. Let's work together to get this message out there. And drop a comment down below. Let's start a discussion together. Let me know any signs of defeat that you have seen in the narcissist. If you would like one-on-one support, you can book with me by going to narcsurvivor.co.uk. If you would like to help support my work, you can donate by going to paypal.me/narcsurvivor. And you can follow me on my Instagram. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. That's the profile name. And also, we have a new Facebook group. It's called Narc Survivor. So yeah, that's it. Thank you all for joining me on another live video. You will have a great day, and I'll speak to you in another one very soon.